who is the most beneficent incarnation known as Gauranga. Krishnaraj Kaviraj Goswami says that he is the ocean of all conclusive knowledge in pure bhakti, and he empowers Sri Ramanand Rai, who is like a cloud of devotional service. This cloud was fulfilled with the water of all the conclusive purports of devotional service, and he was empowered by the ocean to spread this water over the sea of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Thus, the ocean of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became filled with jewels of knowledge of pure devotional service. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Dvaita Nityananda Karunamayam Ekayanga Tridha Murti Kaishuradi Sadavaram Jivatran Bhakti Jnana Bhunkaradi Garjanam Sitanath Advaitachar Narvinda Bhavanam. All glories to Advaita Acharya. His appearance, as mentioned earlier, we sang the Advaita Ashtakam composed by Srila Sarva Bhattacharya. And Sarva Bhattacharya ji mentions that all glories to Advaita Acharya, all glories to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all glories to Nityananda Prabhu. They are all one, but in three different forms, depicting the different phases of life, like adolescence, etc. Sri Advaita Acharya roars and thunders in order to deliver the living entities by giving them transcendental knowledge and pure devotional service. I meditate upon the lotus feet of Sri Advaita Acharya, the Lord of Sita Devi. Navaneeradhanindita Kantidharam Rasosagar Nagar Bhupavaram Shubhavam Kimacharu Shikhanda Shikhim Bhaja Krishna Nidhim Brajaraja Sutam Radhika Sarodendo Nindimukha Mandali Vandiye Shri Pada Padma Vrishabhanu Nandini Vandiye Shri Pada Padma Vrishabhanu Nandini. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Today is Sunday, February the 6th, 2022, and we will be continuing into this wonderful conversation or the samvad between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Rai Ramananji. Also, for some who have joined us from India, it is already the appearance of Advaita Acharya. And tomorrow in the Western Hemisphere, North America, we will be celebrating the appearance of Sri Advaita Acharya, fasting till noon, please. So that is the proper system in our Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Anytime there is the appearance of Krishna Tattva or Vishnu Tattva, we fast, and uh, we should chant more, ask for their mercy. I sang this song by Sarvamata. Briefly, I would like to start by taking the mercy of Advaita Acharya, who was the main reason why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, because he was instrumental. So Sarvamata, when he received the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri, he became a pure Vaishnava. Previously, he was a Brahmavadi. A Brahmavadi is someone more or less who considers that we are all God, and sort of a Mayavadism there, where they also study the Vedas and everything, but they think the entire world is covered with Maya, and because we are in Maya, we see we are in a dream-like state. So there is actually no existence of any personalism. Just like we have a person, you can see me on your screen. I have glasses, I have worn a gray color shawl, and I have a white kurta. So you can see the shape of what I look like. That's called personalism, a person. But the Mayavadis and the Brahmavadis, they are actually killers of personalism. Mahaprabhu said, Mayavadi are Krishna Aparadhi. Mayavadis are offensive because they are killing Krishna. Although they are studying the Vedas and their ultimate conclusion is Aham Brahmasmi, I am that spirit soul, which is good, but it is not the full conclusion of the Vedas. The full conclusion of the Vedas, as per the Vaishnava school of thought, is Aham Brahmasmi and Jiver Swarup Hoy Krishnir Nityadas. This is also mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. The original constitutional position or the Swarupa of a Jiva, of a soul, is that he is eternally a servant of Sri Krishna. And Krishna is a person. Personalism, because when there is personalism, then you can serve. Mayavadis and Brahmavadis, they don't like to serve. They don't like to do seva. If you are God, I am God, everybody is God, then why we should serve each other? That equality is there. And if there is no God, as many people claim, it is some kind of a light or some energy, then how can you serve light or energy? Common sense tells us that you can serve nicely a person, even if you have a guest coming visiting your home, you can please the guest by offering a nice, comfortable seat, offering them some refreshments, offering some prasad, offering some sweet words. You cannot do that to some light or some energy. It's not possible. So seva is the mool swarup, or the constitutional position and bliss, ananda, of a jiva. And unless and until the jiva comes to that platform, jena atma suprasidhati, savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radhokshaje ahaitukiya pratiyata jena atma suprasidhati. Srimad Bhagavatam declares this, that the highest dharma of mankind is pure devotional service unto Sri Krishna. And it has to be uninterrupted and without any material motivation. Ahaituki, without any material motivation. Apratiyata, uninterrupted. And then what is the result? Jena Atma Suprasidhati. Then the soul will be completely 100% satisfied. But otherwise, we are simply going in the dark, following even the other schools of thoughts like the Brahmavads and the Mayavads, which Sarvamata was the champion. He was Sarvabhauma. Sarvabhauma means the entire world. Bhattacharya. He was a Brahmin who was a scholar in Vedas. But unfortunately, his conclusions were incorrect. And by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he gave darshan in Puri, then at that time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed some special mercy on Srila Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and converted him into a pure Vaishnava. And after that, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya has composed many wonderful songs eulogizing Mahaprabhu and eulogizing, for example, Advaita Acharya. He says in the first verse, Hohunkara Garjanadi Ahoratra Shadagunam Ha Krishna Radhika Natha Prarthna Adi Bhavanam. Hunkara, roaring like a lion, Advaita Acharya, thundering like a monsoon cloud. He prayed day and night. Ahoratri, day and night. Ha Krishna Radhika Natha. O Krishna, O Lord of Radharani, O Radhika, please come down. And how he served Krishna through his Vigraha of Shaligram Shila. On the banks of the Ganga, he smeared on the Shaligram Shila a paste of sandalwood pulp, and he offered kasturi, musk, and he offered arti, the lamp, incense, dhupa, deepa. He offered all those paraphernalia for the pleasure, because Shaligram is not different from Vishnu or Krishna. And Advaita Acharya says, in every end of every verse, Sita Nath Advaita Charanaravindha Bhavana. My consciousness is at the lotus feet of the husband of Sita Devi. Advaita Acharya's wife is known as Sita Devi, and it is Sita Mata who gave the name with a lot of love to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nimai. Because when he appeared in Mayapur, in Yogapit, he took birth under a neem tree. And neem is considered to be very auspicious to drive away all kinds of evils. In India, they use that. So he was crying, and at that time, everybody started chanting Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. And Advaita Acharya's wife, Sita Devi, who was like a grandmotherly figure, she, with a lot of love, gave the name Nimai. And her entire consciousness was so that no evil should come upon Nimai, upon Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Sita Nath Advaita Charanar Vinda Bhavanam. Gangavari Manohari Tulashadi Manjari Krishna Jnana Sada Dhyana Premavari Jharajhari. He offered the Ganges water, Gangavari Manohari, which is so pleasing to the mind, to the heart, Tulasadi Manjari, and he offered tulsi leaves and manjaris, the little buds, to the Shaligram Shila to please Krishna, to appease him. Krishna Jnana Sada Dhyana Premavari Jarajari, and his consciousness was fully at the lotus feet of Krishna. Sada Dhyana, always meditating on Krishna. Premavari Jarjari, and pure love, Krishna Prem, was flowing in the heart of Advaita Acharya. Kripa Abdi Karuna Natha. Kripa Abdi Karuna Natha Bhavishyati Prarthana. Kripa Abdi. So there is double meaning here. Kripa Abdi. Abdi means an ocean, and Kripa means mercy. So Advaita Acharya himself is an ocean of mercy. And also Krishna is an ocean of mercy. Kripa Abdi Karuna Natha. Oh, Master of all the fallen, please show your mercy. Bhavishyati Prarthana. And he prayed like that in advance. Sita Nath Advaita Charana Ravinda Bhavanam. I offer my obeisances, Sarva Bhattacharya says, unto the lotus feet of of Sri Advaita Acharya. Muhur Muhur Krishna Krishna Uchchai Swara Gaitam. Again and again, Muhur Muhur Krishna Krishna. He chanted the names of Krishna Krishna Uchchai Swara Gaitam. With a loud voice, he called out to Krishna Krishna, Ahe Nath Jagatrata Mama Drishti Gocharam. Oh Lord of the universe, oh Krishna, please bestow your kind glances upon me. Dvibhuja Karuna Natha Diyatam Sudarshanam. Dvibhuja. So this Krishna who appeared in his two-arm form. That is my vision as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared as the two arms, the Dvija. So that is why he is calling, already he is seeing that this wonderful munificent personality with two arms is going to appear. And therefore, Dvibhuja, two arms, Karunanatha Diyatam Sudarshanam, please appear before us. Sita Nath Advaita Charana Ravinda Bhavanam. For my obeisances and my consciousness is at the lotus feet of Advaita Acharya. Shri Advaita Prarthana Jagannatha Alayam. Oh, Advaita Acharya prayed Sachi Matur Garbha Jata Chaitanya Karunamayam. He offered his obeisances, he offered prayers after prayers after prayers. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in the womb of Jagannath Mishra and in the father Jagannath Mishra, in the womb of Sachi Mata. And in order this is to enjoy the association of Sri Advaita Acharya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sang the holy name of the Lord congregationally and danced with the devotees. That is what Sarva Bhattacharya is mentioning. Sri Advaita Shanga Ranga Kirtan Vilasanam. Along with the association of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, every night they used to have nocturnal kirtan at Srivas Acharya's house, and Advaita Acharya was present. Nityananda Prabhu was present. So, to give him association, Krishna, Nanda Nandan came down. Sita Nath Advaita Charana Ravinda Bhavanam. Advaita Charana Ravinda Jnana Dhyana Bhavanam. Offering my obeisances to Advaita Acharya, my consciousness at the lotus feet of Advaita Jnana Dhyana Bhavanam. My knowledge, my meditation at the lotus feet of Advaita Acharya. Sada Advaita Pada Padma Renu Rasi Dharanam. And always, Sarva Bhattacharya ji says that I take the dust of the lotus feet and put it on my head. Dehi Bhaktim Jagannath Raksha Mama Abhajanam. Dehi Bhaktim, please give me pure devotional service unto this unworthy soul and protect him. Sita Nath Advaita Charana Ravinda Bhavanam. I meditate upon the lotus feet of Sri Advaita Acharya, the Lord of Sita Devi. Further, he says, Sarvadata Sita Natha Praneshwara Sadagunam. Sarvadataha Sita Natha, the giver of pure bhakti to everyone, the husband, the Lord of Sita Devi, Praneshwara, the life and soul, Sadagunam, with all transcendental qualities. Ye Japanti Sita Natha Pada Padma Kevalam. And one who always calls out the name of Advaita Acharya will always attain pure bhakti. Je Japanti Sita Nath, one who calls out the name of Advaita Acharya, Pada Padma Kevalam, one will attain his lotus feet 100%. Diyatam karuna nath bhakti yoga tatshanam. Diyatam, please give me. Oh, you're full of mercy, Advaita Acharya. Bhakti yoga tatshanam. When we attain the mercy of Advaita Acharya, we will obtain the pure devotional service, Bhakti yoga tatshanam, immediately. Sita nath Advaita Charana Ravinda Bhavana. Sri Chaitanya Jai Advaita Nityananda Karunamayam. O Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, O Advaita, all glories to Advaita Acharya, all glories to Nityananda Prabhu. Karunamayam, please have mercy on me. Sarva Bhattacharya prays like this. Eka anga tridha murti kaishoradi sadavaram. Eka anga, they are actually one. Because Krishna's expansion is Nityananda Prabhu as Lord Baldev, and also Lord Baldev's expansion is Mahavishnu. And as Guna Avatar of Krishna is Shiva, Lord Shiva or Sadashiv. So Advaita Acharya is an incarnation, a combination of Sadashiv and Mahavishnu. So they are all one. So here Sarva Bhattacharya has reached that conclusion. Eka anga, they are one, but at the same time, Tridha Murti, they have taken three different forms. Kaishoradi Sadavaram, to describe the wonderful pastimes of Sri Krishna in Vraj, in Madhurya Rasa, Kaishoradi. This is very important. This is the bhav. Sarva Bhattacharya was blessed with this highest rasa by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Jivatrana Bhakti Jnana Huhunkara di Garjanam. Jivatran, because the jivas in this world, they are so fallen and they have lost. Advaita Acharya called out to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu like this, because at that time in West Bengal, Vaishnavism had become extinct. Most of them had become Shaktas, and they were spending time in sense gratification and worshipping Mother Durga, Lord Shiva, simply to obtain material benefits. Pure bhakti was almost extinct, and the few Vaishnavas that were left, they were practicing it incognito in their own houses. There was no prachar, and things were just becoming very bad. That out of pure compassion, Jiva Trana Bhakti Jnana Hunkara Adi Garjanam, and then again he roared like a lion. This is very important, crying out to the Lord. Just like sometimes when there is such a big catastrophe in our lives, we see that in the movies, and sometimes we have practically seen it, and perhaps it has also, we have seen it happen to our own self, that when we lose something or when there is such a great catastrophe, we just cry out loudly, ha! So that is out of compassion. Sri Advaita Acharya cried out like that to Mahaprabhu, please come, please come. Dinahina Nindakadi Prema Bhakti Dayakam. Even to those who are so fallen, who are always criticizing the Vaishnavas, who are very violent. Prema Bhakti Dayakam. He gave the pure devotional service or Prema Bhakti to them, even to such scoundrels and rascals. Sarvadata Sita Nata Shanti Puranayakam. Sarvadata. He is indeed the provider, and he is a nourisher. He is a nourisher as the maintainer, as Mahavishnu. Because the three guna avatars of Krishna are Lord Brahma, who acts as the creator, Lord Vishnu as the maintainer, and Lord Shiva as the annihilator. So Lord Vishnu, he is the maintainer. So therefore, and he's also not only a maintainer in terms of our material needs and in our in the material world, but Advaita Acharya is a maintainer of our bhakti. That is why we always remember him before we chant the Mahamantra. So, Deenahina Nindagari Prema Bhakti Dayakam Sarvadata Sita Natha. He is the giver, he is the maintainer, the husband of Sita Mata. Shanti Puranayakam. Advaita Acharya's residence was in a place known as Shantipur, not too a few kilometers away from Mayapur Navadvip. That was his place of residence across the Ganga on the other side. So he is Shantipura Nayakam. Everybody respected Advaita Acharya. He was like the leader. Raga Ranga Sanga Dosha Karma Yoga Mokshanam Sita Nath Advaita Charanaravinda Bhavanam. He frees us from the bondage of material attachments. Raga. Here rag means material attachment. Dosha Sangha, bad association. And karma, fruitive activities that keep us in this material world again and again. Sometimes enjoying in the heavenly planets due to our punya karma, and then suffering in the hellish planets due to our pap karma, and then coming back on earth. Like this, we are oscillating. So Advaita Acharya is that personality who can give us freedom from this bondage of material attachments, bad association, fruitive activities, and also from mystic yoga. Mystic yoga, many people go behind siddhis. So siddhi is not or moksha. That's something that is not pure Vaishnavism. So some personality, great personality like Advaita Acharya can eradicate raga, ranga, sanga, dosha, karma, yoga, mokshanam. Sita Nath Advaita Charana Aravinda Bhavanam. I offer my obeisances unto Sri Advaita Acharya, who is the husband of Sita Devi. So it's a beautiful Ashtakam, and we should sing it tomorrow, especially here in the West, composed by Sarvamudaka Acharya. And this is the tune for some of you who missed it. I can just sing the first verse again so that everybody can benefit. Ahoratra Sadagunam Krishna Radhika Natha Prarthanadi Bhavanam Upadipa Kasturicha Chandaradi Lepanam Sitanath Advaita Charana Ravinda Bhavanam Sitanath Advaita Charana Ravinda Bhavanam. Bolo Shri Advaita Acharya ki jai. So, coming back to our Rayaramananji's conversation with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we saw that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had traveled all the way from Jagannath Puri, and he had come to southern India by the temple of Jiyad Narsingha. And there Chaitanya Mahaprabhu danced in ecstasy and sang wonderful kirtan and uh, singing the glories of Narsinghadev Bhagavan. Uh, uh, like this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu uh, on the was also given the prasadam garland of Narsinghadev Bhagavan by the Brahman, and the Brahman requested him to stay there for that night because it was late. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very excited because Sarvavadacharya had specifically requested him that when you go to the Vidyanagar in South India on the near the banks of Godavari, please meet this personality, the son of Bhavanand Rai, Ramanand Rai. Bhavanand Rai had three sons, I believe. One was Vaninath Vasu, Rai Ramananda, and I forget the third uh, personality. They were all wonderful devotees, and especially Rai Ramanand. So, next morning, it was such great ecstasy that Mahaprabhu did not even know which direction he was going, left or right. But eventually, he reached the banks of the Ganges, Godavari, and there, after looking at the Godavari, he started remembering Sri Vrindavan Dham, Jamuna, the forest right by the banks of the Godavari river reminded Chaitanya Mahaprabhu of Sri Vrindavan Dham. And again, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu danced in ecstasy, remembering Sri Vrindavan, remembering Jamuna. And that is the mood of Vaishnavas. Whenever we see a holy river, especially those who are Gaudiya Vaishnavas, they always think of the Jamuna River. When they see a forest, they always think of Sri Vrindavan Dham. So, like this, he came and then he took a bath, and then Rai Ramanand, along with, because he was a big, great minister, he came to the banks with a lot of his soldiers and ministers and many Brahmins that were reading the Swasti Vachan. They were the Vedic hymns, and Rai Ramanand was offering oblations to the Ganges by entering the waters, and the Vedic Brahmanas were chanting wonderful mantras. Mahaprabhu could understand that it is Ramanand Rai who has come, and he was very excited. He wanted to run and meet Rai Ramananda, but he curtailed himself, and he waited for the right opportunity, because this was going to be a very, very confidential and intimate association. Sometimes there is certain association that the Vaishnavas, they reveal themselves in the out of the 6 different associations of Vaishnavas. It is mentioned that one should meet those Vaishnavas and reveal their heart, those who are of that high caliber, and one can discuss higher topics of Krishna consciousness. Generally, higher topics of Krishna consciousness are not spoken in general public, because either it is due to the lack of interest that a lot of persons who are attending the katha may have, or maybe they have not received that much mercy yet, so that they can understand those higher subject matters. So we have to understand that Mahaprabhu, although excited, he controlled himself, because he saw that there were other Brahmins and there were other ministers and all other, the entire entourage befitting a minister. They were present. And Mahaprabhu had a specific reason to meet Rai Ramananda, but that would not have been fulfilled. So that's why he curtailed himself and he waited. And Rayaramananda then saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from far. And the description that Krishnaraj Kaviraj Guru, he's like brilliant as hundreds of suns. And he was so effulgent. And of course, he was in a saffron garment of a sannyasi. So, and Mahaprabhu's description is given by Krishnaraj Kaviraj Goswami, his physiognomy, that he had a very large body. He was huge, very strong built, and his eyes were very beautiful, like lotus petals. Beautiful two eyes. Even last time, I believe I chanted that Mangalacharan from Chaitanya Bhagavat by Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur is again none other than an incarnation of Vyasdev. And Vyasdev is an incarnation of Mahavishnu. And Advaita Acharya is an incarnation of Mahavishnu and Sadashiv. Sadashiv is the source of all the Shivas. There's more than one Shiva, by the way. Many people do not know that. Just like there are many types of Krishna, there are many types of Lord Shiva also. So there are the Rudra avatars. There's the Shiva that resides in the China-Tibet border eternally on the Bhaumya Kailash. Just like Krishna and his associates eternally reside in Vrindavan. The Vrindavan that we know, that we visit, close to between Delhi and Agra, geographically speaking, in Uttar Pradesh. But Krishna is present along with all those associates eternally in the spiritual sky, the topmost spiritual sky known as Golok Vrindavan, the planet in this, the topmost planet in the spiritual sky, which is way beyond, higher than the Vaikuntha planets, higher than Ayodhya, higher than Dwarka, higher than Mathura. So there is Bhaumya Mathura, there is Mathura in the spiritual world. There is Dwarka, Bhaumya Dwarka. Bhaumya means this world, Bhumi. And there is the the Dwarka in the Vaikuntha lokas, in the spiritual world, in the spiritual kingdom. Similarly, the Sadashiv has got a residency in Vaikuntha. There is an eternal Kailash present there, just above the Brahma Jyoti. One day I will do a presentation after, perhaps this is going to be a long topic, but on the complete, based on Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhakti Vinod Thakur's Krishna Samhita, on Brahma Samhita, I have a PowerPoint presentation that I had made perhaps about a decade, 11 years ago, because I used to give these lectures on Brahma Samhita and many devotees were not so, it was not so easily absorbed, so I thought, let me do something which can show the greatness, in my little way, what Krishna is and what the different geographical locations of the Bhumandal, of the hellish planets, of the heavenly planets. Above the heavenly planets is the area where there is the Mahat Tattva, or the warehouse of the 10 material elements. Above that, the spiritual realm starts with the covering of Mahavishnu's or Karana Udakashayi Vishnu's residence, known as the Karana, the Karan Jal, the Mahasagar, the causal ocean, and above that is the Brahma Jyoti, and Brahma Jyoti is a covering full of effulgence that is consolidated, concentrated effulgence that reflects the spiritual worlds, the entire planets, the residents of all the spiritual worlds, and of course their lordships, different lordships residing in the different planets. They are so effulgent, so their concentrated effulgence is found in the Brahma Jyoti. It's like Shuddha Sattvam without the three material modes of nature. And maximum, some of the Mayavadis and Brahmavadis, they can, because they have practiced so much yoga or penances that they have really gone beyond the three modes of material nature, Tamagun, Rajagun, and Satagun. So that is that area where they can reside for some time, and after that they have to come back, because there is no activity, and because it was their internal desire to merge into the Brahman, into that effulgence. So Krishna has made that arrangement, which is amazingly bereft of the three modes of material nature, but at the same time there is no personalism. There is, it's only a covering or an avaran of energy, of light, which in turn is from the spiritual worlds. So, and above that, the real spiritual world begins, which is known as the Vaikuntha Lokas. And the first area is known as the Kailash, where Lord Sadashiv resides. And his expansion, Sadashiv's expansion, is the Lord Shiva's. There is a Shiva that is also residing in the Kailash, in the heavenly planets. And then there is the Kailash in this Bhaumya planet, on this earthly planet. And there are different incarnations of Lord Shiva. But the original source is Sadashiv. So Advaita Acharya is an incarnation of that original Lord Shiva along with Mahavishnu. Harihar. No, what is that? I forget. Sorry, well, not Harihar. He's Harihar. Yeah, there is a temple in Navadvip of Harihar, where half Murti, the deity of Lord Shiva, and half of Lord Vishnu. So, because they are actually one tattva in one sense. So, Lord Shiva is none other than Krishna, as mentioned in the Brahma Samhita, that just like Ashiram yatha dadi vikar vishesha yogat sanjayate prati gasti heto yam shambhutam api samapeti karyat govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Just like milk is transformed into yogurt by the addition of a little bit of acid, a little bit, as an acid is considered in the mode of ignorance. So just by a little bit of mode of ignorance that is added to pure milk, it is transformed into yogurt. So Krishna takes that position by transforming himself because Maya cannot touch Krishna. Tamogun cannot touch Krishna. And somebody has to do the job of annihilation. Any kind of destruction means it is in the mode of ignorance. Creation requires the mode of passion or rajogun, and the sustenance and the maintenance is in the mode of goodness. So at the end, when the Mahapralaya comes, somebody has to destroy, and that agency is the agent of Krishna is Lord Shiva, who is none other than Krishna, but he has actually taken that task. Milk can become yogurt, but yogurt cannot become milk. So this is an amazing phenomenon that is there. In one sense, Krishna and Shiva are one, but at the same time, for the purpose of Leela, they have separated, and they have separate duties, we can say, or different kinds of functions. So like this, there is this eternal Kailash in Vaikuntha Loka. Anyways, coming back to our, so when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when Rayaramananda saw, he was just struck by and he had not even yet approached Mahaprabhu, just from far. Another point that I wanted to mention is, last time, I was talking about the Vrindavan Das Thakur, the author of Chaitanya Bhagavat. So that verse, Ajanu lambita bhujo kanakayo dhato sankirtanai pitaravo kamalaya taksho vishwam bharo dvijavaro yuga dharma palo vande jagat priya karo karuna avtaro. glorifying Gaur Nitai, Vrindavan Das Thakur, before starting the Chaitanya Bhagavat, he says the physiognomy he describes, that his hands of both these brothers, Gaur Nitai, they extend to their knees, Ajanu Lambita Bhujo, Kanakaya Uthato, and their complexion is golden. San Kirtanai Pitaro, they are the founders of the San Kirtan. Pitaro, Kamalaya, their beautiful lotus-like eyes. Vishwambharo Dvijavaro, they are Vishwambharo. Both of them are the maintainers of the entire creation. Vishwambharo, Dvijavaro, and they are the the uh, crest jewels, or the masters or the leaders of all the Brahmins, because they both appeared in the Brahmin families. Jagannath Mishra, father of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, was a top-notch Brahmin, and so was Hadai Pandit Oja, the father of Nityananda Prabhu. So he was also a Brahmin. So Dvijavaro, Yuga Dharma Palo. And what are they doing? They are actually spreading the holy names, the Yuga Dharma of Kali Yuga. Harer Nam, Harer Nam, Harer Nam, Kevalam, Kalo Eva Nasti, Eva Nasti, Eva Nasti, Gatiranyatha. This is the Yuga Dharma, the process of attaining perfection in this Kali Yuga is through chanting of the holy names. So Yuga Dharma Palo, Vande Jagat Priya Karo Karuna Avtaro. I offer my obeisances unto these two personalities who are very favorable, or they are the favorite personalities of the whole world. Jagat Priya Karo Karuna Avtaro, and they are the most munificent avatars. They are the most compassionate personalities. So when Ramanand Rai saw this sannyasi, after being struck with wonder, he went to him immediately. Whenever we see a sadhu, that is considered our good fortune. Somebody who is a sannyasi, we should immediately approach. And what should we do? What did he do? Rai Ramanand, he offered his prostrated obeisances, dandavats, falling like a flat rod in front of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So further, if we continue into our mood of what Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is mentioning, Uthi Prabhu kohe utho, kaha Krishna Krishna, tare alangite Prabhur Rudaya Satsrana. Uthi Prabhu kahe utho, kaho Krishna Krishna, tare alangite Prabhura Hridaya Satrushna. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when Rai Ramanand fell like a stick offering dandavats, the Lord stood up, offering him respects, and Raman and asked him to get up. See, even the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, this is the proper etiquette. When somebody offers us obeisances, and if we are equals, then at least what we can do is we can offer obeisances back. If we have, let's say, a superior position, in the sense, if we are in the role of a guru, or somebody who is guiding, the least we can do is follow in the footsteps of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu acknowledged that dandavats by getting up. We see nowadays a lot of so-called gurus, when obeisances are offered and when they are walking into the temple, they don't even glance at the people offering obeisances. And all those people out of faith, they're offering dandavats. They don't even look at them. They don't even acknowledge. It is as if they are Mayavads. They do not acknowledge the existence of these persons. But our Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has set a wonderful example. One should take the time to get up if you are seated. If somebody is offering obeisances, just what he did. And Alangite Prabhura, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced. He asked him to get up, and he wanted to embrace him. He wanted to embrace him. Satrushna. Satrushna means with a lot of eagerness. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to embrace him, and that is why he said, get up and chant Krishna, Krishna. Get up and chant Krishna, Krishna. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could not wait to embrace him. Tatha api puchila tumi rai Ramanando teno kahe shehana dasha shudra manda. See, the beautiful exchange has already started, and this is going to get very nectarian as this flows. I tell you, this is one of my most favorite parts of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And of course, the last chapter, which is the Sishtastakam. We already did 22 sessions on the Chaitanya Sishtastakam, the Cheto Darpada Marjanam, the 8 verses of what flowed from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus mouth in Jagannath Puri in the Gambhira, which is the pinnacle. But this is also one of my most favorite, and I just love each and every word in this conversation. Tathapi puchila. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked, Tumi Rai Ramananda? Are you Rai Ramananda? Tena kohe shai hona dasha shudra manda. And Rai Ramananda said with great humility, Shai, yes, I am that. Dasa shudra manda. I am that servant, but I am a shudra. A shudra means somebody who is belonging to a lower community. And that community is low because, not because of their birth, it is because of their actions. Shudra means one who is completely ignorant is known as Shudra. Even when Rup Goswami and Sanatana Goswami first met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Ramkeli in West Bengal, at that time, they took a blade of grass in their mouth, both of them, and they went down on their knees and their hands like animals on their four. And they said that we are not human beings. We are like Shudras. We are very ignorant. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, please bestow your mercy upon us. And although they were the greatest Bhakti Vedantists, the greatest scholars and pure devotees. So, a pure devotee always feels that he is not qualified. He called himself a Shudra. And even Chaitanya, the Rup Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, they said, yes, we are Shudras because we serve these Malechas, we serve these Mughals, we serve Nawab Hussain Shah, and we also adopted their methods of dressing, etc. So we are as good as animals. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has also adopted the same mood in his introductory song of Sharanagati. Rupa sanatana pode dante trina kori bhakati vinoda pode duhu pada dhari. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, remembering the lotus feet of Rup Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, he says, I fall down at the lotus feet of Rup Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. How? Dante Truna Kori. By taking a blade of grass in between my teeth, just like how a goat or an animal or a cow takes a bunch of grass in between their mouth. So, of the utmost higher, Dante Truna Kori. Bhakati Vinoda Pode Duhu Pada Dhori. This is how I proffer my prostrated obeisances by catching the 2 lotus feet of Rup Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. So, like this is a Teno Kahe Shaihan Dash Shudra Manda. I am that servant of that Shudra community. Generally, that's what it is, because we find that he was a ruler. And he is speaking on an external level. All rulers are nowadays, even back then when the Mughals ruled, they are all Shudra community. Why? Because they are simply interested in sense gratification. The ministers, they're opportunists. The moment they get some kind of a position, uh, it is mostly related to sense gratification. Those days are gone when they were Raj Rishis, where Bhagavad Gita is speaking and using those words, Krishna himself, that those administrators and rulers and those kings, they were actually rulers, administrators, leaders, but they were rishis, they were devotees. But today we find that's what it is. So, no matter so-called Jawaharlal Nehru, who is a Pandit, Brahmin community of the Pandit, the Kashmiri Pandits are really Pandits. Back in those days, uh, they were really amazingly advanced in all respects, but just name Pandit. They were like Shudras. He had affairs. Uh, he also had a crush with Lord Mountbatten's wife. Uh, and he was into such great sense gratification that my father, he used to say, when we were kids, where Nehru's clothes go for laundry? And my father first informed me, it goes to Paris. That is why we find in Bombay, where I grew up, there are many laundries known as Paris Laundry. They are called Paris Laundry. You see the hoardings on top, the board, Paris Laundry. Because the laundry in Paris was very famous. And thanks to Jawaharlal Nehru, when there were millions and millions of people who were dislocated due to the partition, they've lost everything in utter poverty. Both sides of the border, people were dying. And here he was wearing those finely laundered clothes that were being flown to Paris. This is Jawaharlal Pandit Nehru. They used to call him Pandit Nehru. This is the problem with today's world. Ignorance. The blind are leading the blind. We heard amazing personality, no doubt, well endowed and well gifted, Lata Mangeshkar, the Nightingale of India. She passed away today. But while my wife was browsing some channels just to get some news, these people, these politicians, including the Prime Minister of India and other Chief Minister of Karnataka, I believe, and I barely heard a few moments, they said that she is Saraswati herself. How can one make a statement like that? One can say that she was blessed by Saraswati Devi, undoubtedly. But to make a statement in public, how ignorant it is. Andayatha andhai upaniyamana. Srimad Bhagavatam says, Prahlad Maharaj, the blind are leading the blind today. There is no understanding. Narendra Modi made a statement that wo Paramatma mein vilin ho gayi. So we can clearly see that he is a Mayavad, one who has annihilated their existence and merged into the Supreme Lord. And there is no question of merging. So we can see all these so-called leaders, that yogi, and they said they're doing well on a sattvic platform. But to consider them devotees and to consider them, or to even consider Lata Mangeshkar on the level of Saraswati Devi. Saraswati Devi is one of the consorts of Sri Krishna. And to call her that, that is way too much. There are even in the material world, there are so many well-endowed musicians in the heavenly planets. They are known as Gandharvas. And they are so amazingly, their music and everything, they are very well versed in Samved. Here in this material world, we don't even have that level of music. And they pray to Sama Patu Bhagavati Saraswati Nishesa Jayapaha Ya Kundendu Tushara Har Dhavala. Yesterday was Saraswati Devi's appearance, Vasant Panchami. Ya Brahma Achyuta Trivira Dev Sada Vandita. Even Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and even Vishnu, they always offer their obeisances to Saraswati Devi. So that becomes Lata Mangeshkar. I mean, she was a good singer, no doubt. Nobody on this earthly planet comparable to her. But to compare her with the consort, one of the expansions of Radharani, and to compare her and to say that she is Saraswati on public television, the people are idiots. The listeners who accept it, they are also idiots of the highest order. To say that she was very blessed with Saraswati Devi, that is a different story. Or even worse come worse, if somebody has so much love for her, then perhaps she was an incarnation of Saraswati Devi. That is the highest that one can, but to say that she is Saraswati Devi, this is the world that we live in, unfortunate. Anyways, so by the way, somebody sent me a WhatsApp. Lata Mangeshkar actually appreciated Srila Prabhupada. There was a message that that somebody sent me today, that she was very happy and offered obeisances to Srila Prabhupada because Srila Prabhupada was spreading Krishna consciousness all over the world through the medium of kirtan and music. So because of course she has the connection with music. So these were some of the words that she had at some point spoken in glorification of Srila Prabhupada. So, may she attain a higher destination and hopefully finally attain the highest destination, which is Krishna Bhakti. So, because at the end of the day, no matter what, how good we are in any particular field, Vasudeva para Veda, Vasudeva para Makha, Vasudeva para Yoga, Vasudeva para Kriya, Vasudeva Paro Dharma, Vasudeva Paragati hai. If our studying of the Vedas, and Vedas includes music, the classical music, if that does not culminate into pure bhakti of Krishna, then it is a waste of time. Vasudeva Paraveda, Vasudeva Param Jnanam. If any kind of knowledge we gather, and at the end of the day, the conclusion doesn't lead to bhakti, to Krishna bhakti, then it is the purpose of that knowledge is defeated. The purpose of yoga, well, yoga is to connect to Sri Krishna. Yoga means to connect. Vasudeva Para Yoga. Vasudeva Para Makaha. Yagya. Makha means yagya. It is to attain the mercy of Krishna, to please Krishna. Vasudeva Paro Dharma. The highest dharma is the service of Vasudeva. Savai Pumsam Paro Dharma. Yato Bhakti Radokshaje. Vasudeva Paragati. The ultimate destination is Sri Krishna. So, this is very clear. Our concept is very clear about that. Some people are very well gifted and they can use it in their service. Like Gandhiji was gifted as a leader. Prabhupada wrote to him, now that we have obtained independence and you like the Bhagavad Gita, why don't you become a messenger of Krishna, speaking Bhagavad Gita to the public at large? People will follow. And Prabhupada quoted that famous verse from the Bhagavad Gita, Yad Yad Acharati Shrestha Tat Tat Jana Anuvartate. When leaders in our society do something, then the common people follow. But that letter just did not probably, Prabhupada never received a reply. And a few weeks later, I think a month later, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi was assassinated. So all this is on perhaps on a sattvic platform, nothing to do with bhakti. But people who are ignorant, they promote such fools. They promote such foolish ideas. So we have to be very careful. We have to follow in the footsteps of what Mahaprabhu teaches us. We have to follow what the disciples of Mahaprabhu, Rup Sanatan Goswami, teach us. We have to be Pakka Rupanugas if we want pure bhakti. Otherwise, we can Ei Rupe Brahman Brahmite, simply oscillate in this material world. So then, Tabe Tare Koila Prabhu Dhruda Alangina Alingone Premaveshe Prabhu Bhritya Dono Echetana Tabe Tar Koila Prabhu Dhrida Alingana. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu lifted Rayaramananda from his prostrated obeisances and he gave him a very tight hug. Druda Alingana, not some khokla. Nowadays we see even that has become the thing in the society. We see that when two persons meet, if ladies are meeting ladies and they do this, mwah, mwah, it's just making noise and there is no affection. You should see them, how stupid they are. Sometimes I see that on TV and I look at my wife. Look, I said, again, all this, what do you call, just the show. When you shake hands nicely, show your love, your affection. When you hug somebody, one should have that feeling should be there. Otherwise, what is the use of just yesterday I was seeing something, and nowadays even in India we see that they kind of touch the feet of the elders. And how do they do it? As if they are trying to touch a snake. They go halfway, like as if a big firecracker is about to burst, and they're trying to move it, and they don't even reach for the feet. Somewhere, about 2 feet away from the feet, they will just try to show that they're touching, and then they will go back. So that's not affection. So here we can learn that Tavetara Koila Prabhu Drida Alingana, with a great, nice embrace. Prema Avashe Prabhu Bhritya Done Achetana. And out of pure love, both of them became unconscious. Both. The Prabhu Bhritya, Prabhu means Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the master, and Bhritya means servant. There's one nice verse in, very nice and short verse, sweet verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Ekla Ishwara Krishna or Shab Bhritta. There's only one Bhagwan. Ekla Ishwara Krishna or Shab Bhritta. And all of them, all the rest are servants, Bhritta. So including all the different demigods, the Devi Devatas, they are all Bhritta. So Rayaramananda and Prabhu, both Bhritya and Prabhu, the servant and the master, Adona Achetana, they both became unconscious out of ecstasy. When we meet Vaishnavas out of separation after a long time, we should feel some percentage of what at least they are feeling. That is, unless and until we have love for the Vaishnavas, Krishna Prem is durlabh, not possible. It's just talk. Everybody wants Krishna Prem. It's like, saying that somebody was sitting in a tenement and saying, oh, I want a plane, I want helicopter, I want big house, I want Mercedes, I want $5 million. But Baba, but where is your glorification? Where is your qualification? You're not even qualified to earn a certain amount of rupees or dollars, and you want millions and billions. Some even by material qualification, if one has to attain that. Similarly, Krishna Prem is not something cheap. If we do not respect the Vaishnavas, if we are just superficial, and if we only do mua, mua, or just some half-hearted hug, then there is no prema. We are just trying to show off into the whole world that I respect Vaishnavas. No. So this is something that all of us to take home. I tell myself first before I tell anybody else. So then, Sabhavika Prema Donar Udaya Korila Dona Alingiya Dune Bhumite Podila. Sabhavika, it was natural, that prema between the two. Because who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Radha Krishna. He is Krishna in the mood of Radharani. Who is Rayaramananda? He is none other than Vishakha Sakhi. So can you imagine, after a long time, there has been a separation of Vishakha Sakhi from Radha and Krishna. And just by that sparsha, just by that alingan, the Druda alingan, both of them, after they came into consciousness, Udaya, after waking up, Dono Alangiya they again embraced. Done, both of them, bhumite podila, and again they fell to the ground. Such a beautiful story, such a beautiful pastime that shows when will that day come that we will feel that for Vaishnavas. When we meet a Vaishnava, we should, because they are the only well-wishers, the real well-wishers. Otherwise, everything else is based on a bodily concept. As long as we give them sense gratification, you scratch my back, I scratch my back. No, regardless of what relationship, whether husband, wife, parents, brothers, sisters, all these relationships are based on a bodily concept. So, like this, the prema is shown. Sri Prabhupada mentions that Ramanand Rai was an incarnation of the Gopi Vishaka. Since Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was Lord Krishna himself, there was naturally an awakening of love between Vishaka and Krishna. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the combination of Srimati Radharani and Krishna, and the Gopi Vishaka is a principal Gopi assisting Srimati Radharani. Thus, the natural love between Rai Ramananda and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu awakened and they embraced. Stamba Sweda Ashru Kampa Pulaka Vaivarnya Dunara Mukhete Shuni Gada Gada Krishna Varna. Stamba Sweda Ashru Kampa Pulaka Vaivarnya Dunara Mukhera Shuni Goda Goda Krishna Varna. So these are some of the symptoms. When one is in love, one is in ecstasy, there is certain vikaras or the different transformations in the body. Stamba, one becomes like a statue, one is paralyzed. Shweda, there is perspiration. Ashru, tears. Kampa, shivering. Pulaka, the standing of the hairs on the body. It's called horripilation in English. When our hairs, when they stand up. So that is pulaka. And also Vaivarnya. Varan means the color, and Vaivarnya means when it loses color. One becomes pale out of ecstasy. One loses their normal, what do you call, the complexion. One becomes pale. Vaivarnya, Dunara Mukhite Shuni, and from both their mouths, their tongue started faltering. Gadgada, Krishna Varna, Krishna's name. So we find that the ecstasy of our acharyas, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakurpad describes the same exact thing in Sanskrit in the second verse of the Guruvashtakam, the Mangalarti that we sing every morning. Mahaprabhu Kirtan Nitya Gita Vaditra Madhyan Manasora Sena. Romancha, horripilation. Kampa, shivering. Ashru Taranga, streams of tears. Same thing. And furthermore, the Ashtasattvic Vikars also include Stamba. Stamba we find to become like a statue or paralysis. That's exactly what happened to Krishna in Dwarka along with Baldev and Subhadra. When Mother Rohini, behind closed doors at the request of all the queens, they wanted to know why Krishna is crying at night and thinking and always talking about Radharani, talking about Vraj. Sitting in Dwarka, these queens were just bewildered. What is it that we don't have that these Vrajvasis have, that Radhaji has? Why is it that he is crying at night? He's pulling my veil and he's calling out the name of Radha. Krishna is doing that. And at night he's crying. And all the 16,000 queens had the same experience. So when Naradji appeared, they asked Naradji, please tell us. So Naradji said, the best person to ask is Rohini Mata. She will tell you because she has lived in Vrindavan. So they all gathered, the queens of Dwarka, and they asked Mother Rohini, Mother Rohini, please tell us, what is Vrindavan? What is Braj Mandal? Who is Radharani? So Mother Rohini warned, if you want me to tell you this, somebody has to guard the door. I will only tell you all this behind closed doors because of Krishna and Balram. If they come and if they hear about Vraj, they will go crazy. So Subhadra Devi said, Maya, I will guard the door and I will make sure behind closed doors, let everybody, and I will hear from outside. I will keep the door shut. But that did not help. Krishna Balram, who were in the Sudharma hall in Dwarka, they left the palace assembly where there were many ministers and kings and all that, because they are none other than Paramatma, seated in everybody's heart. The queens of Dwarka started relishing Vraj Katha. Mother Rohini started speaking Vraj Katha. And Krishna and Balram are in their hearts. Immediately they left everything and they proceeded towards that room where all the queens were assembled. And there they saw Subhadra guarding the door and their ears towards the door. And they were like, okay, what's happening? And as soon as they came forward, they started listening, and then they became like stambas. Stamba means they become paralytic. All three, all three siblings, all of them, Krishna, Balram, and Subhadra. And that is the form of Lord Jagannath. Hearing about Vraj, after the katha was finished, they all came out, the queens and Naradji, and then they came back to their original forms, Krishna, Balram, and Subhadra Devi. Seeing Naradji, he said, hey Narad, you are here. Krishna said, what did you start? And Naradji looked down with shame. I'm so sorry. And Krishna says, no question of you being sorry. I'm so happy that you are the one who initiated the conversation and inspired the queens of Dwarka to hear about Vraj. I'm so pleased. Ask me what you want, and I will grant you that boon. And a pure Vaishnava never wants anything for themselves. Naradji says, oh Krishna, if you want to give something, what I just saw when I walked out of the door and what we just saw, you all were like stambas. Your hands had reclined, your feet had reclined, as if your eyes had become wide, as if there was a paralytic attack. Stamba out of prema, Vraj prema. Please let the whole world see those forms of yours, so that when they see that form in ecstasy, stamba, sweda, ashru, kampa, pulaka, vaivaranya, when we see that, it will remind us of how crazy you are about Vraj. It will remind us of the glories of Vraj. It will remind us, it will give us the love of Vraj. And Krishna says, Tathastu, Narad, I will grant that. And thus, Krishna, Baldev, and Subhadra Devi appear to King Jindrajumna in those forms as the Daru Brahman, as those wooden logs, along with Sudarshan Jiu, in Mahambodes Tire, on the ocean of Jagannath Puri, and the rest is history. Jagannatha Swami Nayana Pathagami Bhavatu Me. Please bestow your glance, your merciful glance on me, which is fully anointed with Vraj Prem. That is the real meaning, and that is because after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this dimension of Lord Jagannath, Prem for Vraj was revealed. It was a secret. Prior to that, it was only Vaikuntha Bhav. Many kings came, even before King Pratap Rudra, and many Galamadhav, Raja Galamadhav, that all came in the dynasty of King Indrajumna. they all were worshipping him as Lord Jagannath and Baldev and Subhadra as the lordships of Vaikuntha. And even today, most people who have no idea about Mahaprabhu and the Gaudiya Vaishnavism, it is still Vaikuntha Dwarka. That is why from Dwarka, when the Rath pulls out in Jagannath Puri, where are they going? To Gundicha, which is none other than Sri Vrindavan Dham. And Krishna forgets, Jagannath forgets about Dwarka, stays in Gundicha. On the 5th day, Lakshmi Devi comes out with her army, with her servants. Where is my husband? He has not come back. He has not come back. She's freaking out. She beats the chariot, Lord Jagannath's chariot, Nandi Ghosh, Devdalan. They beat the chariots, and even they beat the sevaks in the Gundicha Mandir. Give me my husband back. So these are the sweet nectarian nuances and secrets of Lord Jagannath and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is and then also Mahaprabhu himself mentions similar symptoms in the last chapter of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, in the Chaitanya Sistastakam. Nayana galada shrudharaya, vadanam gadgada rudayagira, pulakir nichitam vapu kada, tava nama grihaneshu bhavishyati. When will that day come? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taking a very, very humble stance, that my tears, that there will be tears rolling out of my eyes. Nayana galada shrudharaya, streams of river, streams of tears will roll down my eyes. Vadanam gadgada rudayagira, where I will be shivering and my speech will be faltering when I say Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Pulakir nachitam vapu kada, when will my hair stand on an end on my body? Tava nama grihaneshu bhavishyati, when I take the holy name. These are the symptoms of prema. When we touch a Vaishnava, when we recite the holy name, then the day these symptoms start coming and manifesting in us, then we have actually attained Krishna prema. Until then, we keep trying, whether it is this life or it is a million lives, but we should try. At least we are on the right track. Further, in the Madhya Leela, continuing in the conversation or the pastime, Dekhiya Brahmana Gonero Hoilo Chamatkaro Vaidika Brahmana Shobho Korena Bichara. Dekhiya Brahmana Ganera Hoilo Chamatkara Vaidika Brahmana Shobho Korena Bichara. Seeing this amazing sight, Dekhiya Brahman, those Brahmins were chanting the mantras while Rayaramananda was accompanied by those Brahmanas and the Ganera. Ganera means the other ministers and other soldiers and security personnel. What an amazing chamatkar. This is a miracle. Vaidika Brahmana Shobha Korena Vichar, and all the Brahmanas started wondering, who is this? What is this? We are seeing this Rayaramananda hugging and rolling on the floor, hugging the sannyasi, and both of them are crying, and all these different symptoms we are seeing on their bodies. They were very much shocked. Eita sannyasa shira teja Eita sannyasa shira teja dekhi brahma shoma shudre alangya ke nae korena krudana. So Eita, seeing this sannyasira, seeing the sannyasi Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Teja, who is full of effulgence, Dekhi, these Brahmanas saw, Brahmana Sama, Brahman Sama, Brahman Sama. Brahman means effulgence. Uh, because these Brahmanas, now we can see that they are more or less like the Brahmavadi Brahmanas or the Vedic Brahmanas who are talking, whose goal is Brahman. So Brahma Sama, Brahma means the Brahman, the Brahma Jyoti. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's description that they gave is like the Brahma Jyoti. Shudre, Shudre means Rayaramananda was a Shudra. So, by jati, by the community. Although he was a leader, but he was from the Shudra community. Alangina, what an amazing thing, because it's an amazing thing to see a sannyasi who is in the highest order of the Varnashram hugging Alangiya Kene Karena Krudana, not only embracing a Shudra, but also crying. So they were really shocked, these Brahmavadi Brahmins. Ei Maharaj Mahapandita Gambhira Sanyashira Sparshe Matta Hoila Asthira. Ei Maharaj Mahapandita Gambhira Sanyas Ashira Sparshe Matta Hoi Ila Asthira. So Maharaj, he is also known as Maharaj, who Rayaramananda, because he is their minister. He was the governor. He was the topmost ruler in Vidyanagar. Of course, the emperor was King Prataprudra, and he had many governors in different provinces of India. So Rayaramananda, the governor, is considered, he was also known as called Maharaj. So Ei Maharaj Mahapandita, who is also Mahapandit. This Rayaramananda was a Mahapandit, a great scholar. Gambira, he became very grave, a sannyasira sparsha, by simply touching a sannyasi. And matta hoila, matta means he became crazy, he became asthira, and he became very restless. So these are the symptoms that when we meet an Ucha Koti Vaishnava, or when we see the deities of the Lord, we should be feeling such, that should be our final prayojan, our final goal, that all these symptoms may manifest on me, in me. Ei matta vipra gana bhave mana mane mana vijatya loka dekhi prabhu koila samvarana. So like this, the Brahmanas were thinking in this way about the activities of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Who is this person? Who is this sannyasi? And Rayaramananda, like how he has got all these ecstasies, and the way Rayaramananda Prabhu is behaving in the presence of this sannyasi. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw those outsiders and restrained his transcendental emotions. Prabhu Koila Samvarana. Samvarana means to restrain oneself. So seeing, now suddenly he came to the external consciousness, we can say so. And seeing that all those Brahmanas and all those different soldiers and all those security personnel were present, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately restrained himself. So this is another thing that we need to learn. That sometimes we may get some a glimpse of ecstasy while we are chanting the holy name. That can happen. And we may get some very special revelations or some special things, miracles, like things can happen in our lives. So we should not go about advertising and broadcasting to everyone. We can only do it to very exalted Vaishnavas who are more senior to us, and perhaps we can get some confirmation from them, and we can share our experiences. We should not be broadcasting it. Like, if I recollect, even Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Sri Prabhupada used to mention, he used to go into ecstasy sometimes just by hearing the name of Sri Radha. but he never showed it in public. Occasionally they could see it, but otherwise he would not show it in public, not even to his own disciples. Because sometimes in this world, people can misunderstand, especially a pure acharya, and one can commit offenses. So it is for their benefit, they sometimes don't reveal many things. Why do you think Srila Prabhupada never revealed his identity? Because we are not qualified. We are not qualified. Prabhupada said that if I tell you who I am in Golok Vrindavan, you will faint. And Prabhupada simply laughed it off. That's the way. But Prabhupada would discuss many things with his senior god brothers like Srila Bhakti Riksha Siddhar Maharaj, and also to Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, his sannyas guru and his senior god brother, and like that. So that qualification has to be there. Even Srila Prabhupada showed those ecstasies. One time Srila Prabhupada, one chanting Jai Radha Madhav before the Bhagavatam class, he showed these symptoms of Nayana Gala Dashrudharaya, Vadanam Gadgad Rudaya Gira. His whole body started shaking. His hair started going, his hair started horripilation, standing on an end, and his voice choked, and he could not sing anymore. And that was one of those rare times when Prabhupada displayed that in public. Perhaps he could not restrain himself. That can happen, but most of the time they are of such high caliber, these acharyas, that they are in ecstasy. And that is one of the reasons Srila Prabhupada, all the books that he has written it in the middle of the night, when everybody went to sleep. All those ecstatic purports of Srila Prabhupada are full of rasa. It's only a matter of us getting that maturity and getting the Navarasa. Each time we read Srila Prabhupada's purports, we will find that the predominant goal of as Gaudiya Vaishnavas is Radha Dasyam, or serving Radha and Krishna. Manjari Bhav is what we should obtain. So, like this, the Brahmanas were thinking about the activities, what is going on here between our king, our governor. Srila Prabhupada mentions that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was intimately related to Mahaprabhu. Therefore, he accepted a Sajatiya, meaning one who is of its own circle. Sa Jatiya. Jat means one can say one of its own kind. So this is a very important word that Srila Prabhupada mentions, that Sa Jatiya. Sa means one's own. So therefore, it is not possible for everybody to understand, the other spectators, what is going on. And the Brahmanas were, however, followers of the Vedic rituals, Srila Prabhupada has mentioned. So those who are not in pure devotional service, they will never be able to understand such wonderful leelas. One may be a very highly elevated or a learned Brahmana, but if he is not a pure devotee, he is a Vijatiya. He is not a Swajatiya. Very nice words Srila Prabhupada uses in the purports. Swajatiya and Vijatiya. Vijatiya means paraya, not a part of the inner circle. And Swajatiya means inner circle. Namna Magari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis. Nija. So that is the same as Sajatiya. All my internal potencies, my energies, the gopis, the gopas, all of them, the manjaris, they are present in the holy name. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has declared that in the Sistastakam, in the second Nija. Because Mahaprabhu is Radharani, in the mood of Radha. So who is the Nija of Radha? It is Vishakha Sakhi, Lalita Sakhi, the Ashta Sakhis, the Manjaris, etc. The Nija Sarva Shaktis, all I've invested them in the holy names. They are present when in the moment we chant Hare, we are addressing Hara, the energies of Srimati Radharani and Krishna, headed by Radharani. So they are Sajatiya, very clearly, which which Prabhupada has mentioned, that they are Brahmavadi Brahmanas. They're simply, more or less ritualistic. So they are Vijatiya. They are outcast. One outside devotional service. In other words, a non-devotee. So, although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Rayaramananda were embracing in ecstasy, the Lord restrained his transcendental emotions upon seeing the outside of Brahmanas. So one has to be very careful when we are speaking Harikatha, or when we are, to who we are sharing Harikatha, especially if it is of a very, very high rasik nature. So I will take up one more verse and then we can conclude for today. Shushtahana Duneshe Sthanete Vashila Tabe Hashi Mahaprabhu Kahite Lagila Shushtahana Dune Sath Duneshe Sthanete Vashila Tabe Hashi Mahaprabhu Kahite Lagila. Sustahana, becoming steady. So now restraining from all those ecstasies, that shivering and all those, becoming very, very sususta, becoming very steady. Dune, both of them. Rayaramananda also noticed that. So he also curtailed his emotions. And Shei Sthanete, in that place, Bashila, they sat down. Tabe Hashi Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu smiled. Kahite lagila, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started speaking. I'll take one more verse, so that way we can conclude. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya Kohila Tomara Gune Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya Kohila Tomara Gune Tomara Milite More Korila Jatone. Sarvabhattacharya ko Kahila tomar gune, tomar milite more, korila jotane. So Sarvabhattacharya spoke of your good qualities. So we mentioned that in the beginning, that when Mahaprabhu left, when he was going for the Dakshin Padayatra, for the southern India, the walking trip. So at that time, Sarvabhattacharya requested Mahaprabhu, and he spoke very highly of Rayaramananda. Sarvabhattacharya spoke of your good qualities. Kahila tomar gune. Tomara milite more, and he requested that I make an endeavor to meet you. So this is the we can still say this is, we are setting the stage of the nectarian conversation that is just going to happen. So we will meet next Sunday, same place, same time. Try to be on time, devotees. I know you're just a few of you, and because the mood of such ecstatic conversations, we should participate in the kirtan and bhajan. It is by the mercy of kirtan. Kirtan is none other than Radha Krishna along with their associates. When we are chanting, today we chanted the beautiful Sarvabhattacharya's composition, Advaita Ashtakam. So by that, we are like little children. When we hear the words of parents, we repeat them when we hear. So similarly, these are our great beacons. They are our guides, and when we hear their words, then perhaps we will be able to learn how to pray one day, and those qualities will come in our heart for pure devotion, how to pray to Krishna, how to pray to Krishna's associates. So try to come. I know you all like the katha and everything, but even the mood of kirtan is very important. That is why Srila Prabhupada always chanted Jai Radha Madhav and Mahamantra, even if it is for a few minutes before the Bhagavad class, so that we can get the mercy and we can get the pure devotional essence. Although we may not remember all the shlokas, we may not remember so many things, but we can remember the essence, the fundamentals, and that can only come with the mercy. Ekaki amar pai nahi pai bal, Harinam Sankirtane, Tumi kripa kari Shraddha Bindu diya, Deho Krishna Nama Dane, Krishna se tomar, Krishna dite par, tomar Shakti ache, Ami to Kangal Krishna Krishna boli dhai tava pache pache. Ohe Vaishnav Thakur, Dayar Shagor, E Dashe Karuna Kari. Oh Vaishnav Acharya. So same thing applies to the holy name. non-different. Sakshat haritvena samasta shastre uktas tatha bhav yataiva sadbi kinto prabhoya priyavatasya vande guru shri charanarvindam. So the holy names is Krishna, and the guru or the acharya is non-different from Krishna. Although they are two different personalities, but they are the guru or the acharya, the holy name, they are the krupa or lila of Sri Krishna. They give us mercy. They give us their mercy to us so that our hearts can become purified to accept the pure message. So thank you all very much. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Jai Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Shri Chaitanya Jaya Advaita Nityananda Karunamayam. Eka Anga Tridha Murti Kaisarodhi Sadavaram. बोलो श्री गौरांग महाप्रभु की जय, राय रामानंद जी के, चैतन्य महाप्रभु की चैतन्य चरितामृत की जय, कृष्णराज कविराज गोस्वामी की जय, ब्रह्मवत गौड़ीय संप्रदाय आचार्य गुरु वर्ग की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद गौ की जय, गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल. So now, if my dear devotees, if you have any questions or any clarifications or any corrections that you need to make, if I've made any mistakes, and if you have anything else to add, please feel free to unmute yourselves. Hare Krishna.